Okay. We're using the colors cobalt blue, manganese blue, ultramarine blue, sap green, yellow medium, burnt sienna, and brown madder. And this is the shores of Lake Superior north of us, about 60 miles. And this was taken in the fall. Lake Superior is just a marvelous body of water. It's really an inland ocean, the way it is defined. It's the largest of the 5 Great Lakes, of course, and the deepest.
In the
All right.
coldest.
In the what?
Coldest.
It's the coldest.
Coldest.
Yeah, we went swimming in there in August, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Okay, I'm going to wet the top part of the paper up here, the top third, just very lightly. And I'm going to grab the ultramarine blue, and we're going to make
Which
kind of
brush?
this brush.
I got my new cat tongues from
Well,
Rosemary
this
this
is
week.
this is my 3/4 inch cat tongue.
And she said she doesn't
Okay.
have her new cat tongue.
And I'm gonna take a little bit of burnt sienna. We want a nice colorful gray. And I'm gonna start at the top. And when I'm putting down the watercolor, I am allowing it just to move basically with the water that I put on there. I'm not trying to paint it evenly. I want a little bit of texture up in the sky. And I just
Did
put
you
a
say
little
ultramarine?
ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. I'm going to add a little bit more burnt sienna to it as we move down towards the horizon. And I'm going to show some of the light up in here because these clouds are very puffy. And then over here on the left side, I'm going to simplify it a little bit so that we have that puffiness kind of disappear. Then I'm going to take the raw sienna, add it more to the same mixture. And I'm going to add a lot of water to this, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to start painting right down below it so that it just sort of seeps into what I had previously painted. And I'm going to be very careful with it. And I'm going to take a little bit of the yellow medium and add that to it. Now, this is still grayed down because of what I added previously to it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the yellow in there like so. And I'm going to leave that set there just a little bit. I'm going to catch this so I can maintain the straight line. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take and I'm going to very quickly paint the shoreline. So I'm take the raw sienna, the burnt sienna, and some of the cobalt blue. So I get this grayish brown mixture. And I'm going to put that in here with a little bit of blue showing here and there. And it's going to be very light. So I'm allowing this to set in. As I'm always telling you, timing is everything. And I'm allowing this to kind of time itself. And I'm just putting down light color at this point for the rocky beach. And then I'm going to come up in here to the foliage that's up in here. And I increase the amount of burnt sienna like so. And I'm going to bring it right on up into that area. Then I'm going to take a little bit of the sap green, not much. And I'm going to go ahead and put the sap green in very light, allow it to kind of blend into the sky just a slight bit. And then take a little bit more of this burnt sienna right up here so that it's very light but very colorful in here. Then I'm going to take the yellow medium, mix it right into what I had previous here, taking the brown madder to make that orange, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint that orange in here right off the bat.
So you switched to brown matter up there.
Yes, brown madder and the yellow medium makes a nice a nice orange, and I'm gonna put that in here, a little bit more yellow. And I'm just allowing it to fall in. I'm not actually doing paints. I'm actually dropping the color into the painting. A little bit burnt sienna here. Increase the intensity of that. Now I'm going to go into the background with my smaller cat tongue. This is my 1/2 inch. And I'm going to take the cobalt blue and the brown matter. And I am actually going to go to a smaller round brush for this at this point. And I'm going to start by putting in the far shoreline, which is kind of a blue violet. We'll increase the value of it later and work with it. But this gives the watercolor a chance to set. We got a little bit of leakage here, which I'll grab. And then I'm going to add a little bit of green to it for the islands out front. Not much, but I'm going to allow that to blend in also right into the shoreline. So we're getting a full block in at this point. And then very quickly with the 1/2 inch cattail, I'm going to take that same mixture that I mixed up here, but I'm going to add a lot of water to it. And I'm going to dry the brush off, and I'm going to go over the water
Oh my,
very
you're
quickly.
gonna,
What?
you're keeping going. This is all too much for a first step.
Well, we have to encompass everything.
But you're getting it all down at once.
Yeah. That's part of watercolor, though.
And your point is, Kathleen?
Okay, and we've got the whole thing blocked in. So let me review. I took the
Yeah.
ultramarine blue with the raw sienna for the sky after I had wet the top third of the paper and dabbed it in so that it has a feeling of those little light turbulent clouds. Then I started adding raw sienna right in here to the same mixture, making it more yellow, and then adding the yellow medium down in here. It's the same mixture. Left that, came over here and started adding the colors along the beach with the burnt sienna and the cobalt blue. And then I came up in here and I added the fall foliage, all very light, and a little bit of the green for the pine trees. Then I came along after this was set in a little bit and painted the cobalt blue and the brown matter through the background here, that far shoreline. Then I took the same mixture again and added green to it. And I painted these islands, which will be darker in the future. Then I took the cobalt blue with a little bit of that green, and I just came right on through here, leaving a little bit of white on the shoreline.
Tell me again, the hills in the background, you said cobalt blue and,
Cobalt blue and brown matter that makes a grayed down violet.
it looks blue.
No, it's a blue violet.
Okay, cobalt blue and brown matter.
Brown matter, yes.
Now you did mention burnt sienna, but
Well, the
was that
burnt
miss
sienna-
miss?
The burnt sienna was in this here, but up here was the ultramarine blue and the raw sienna. Then I started adding, or the burnt sienna, then I started adding the raw sienna to it, and then the yellow, because I wanted some of this yellow glaze coming through here. So that it has a feeling that it's going down and around. So this is going to get darker up here next passage, or later on, maybe not the next passage. But you want to get everything in place for this particular watercolor, because every watercolor you do, you have to look at it, analyze it, and paint it the way that you feel it should be. And you never approach the different paintings the same way.
Now, and the shoreline was where
Was
all
the,
the rocks are?
was the burnt sienna, a little bit of cobalt blue.
Let's see.
Yeah, because burnt sienna was not in the palette. I think that's what's kind of
Was it?
confusing.
I've got it
No.
written- I've got it written down. I thought we put it in there.
No, you only did 6 colors.
Oh, well,
Sorry.
that's our fault here. Add it in. You're gonna need it.
And then there's a patch of blue, like in your rocks,
Oh, that was
right
just,
under.
that's just a leftover from the previous brush mixture.
Oh,
That's nothing important. It's gonna disappear. That was a mistake, but it will be covered up.
And then your orange trees, do they come down? That color comes down into the rocks
Yes, and I
too?
added more burnt sienna to it as I came down and around.
Okay.
Yeah, the little orange dot there is a small Smurf.
Oh, okay.
You wanted to see what the ocean looked like.
And that lower right-hand section of the rocks, that's just burnt sienna.
Burnt sienna with a little bit of raw sienna in it, Deb.
Okay.
Most of the time when you block in something, you want it all encompassing of what you're painting so that you create a relationship of values and colors right away. So you don't end up having hard edges because you want your soft edges as long as possible. You don't want to disconnect anything from the rest of the painting.
And the water,
The water was the cobalt blue and a little bit of the brown matter that I had up here. And I had added a little bit of the raw sienna to it, I think. And I used a lot of water to keep this light because actually the water is going to go from light to dark. So I kept it all light and I'll darken it up as it goes back.
So cobalt raw sienna.
Yes, and a little bit, I had a little bit of burnt sienna left over from what was on the palette, but a minor
oh, sienna.
bit of it. And I had I actually
make a
used this
mistake.
color up in here with the brown matter in it. And I just graded down, added a lot of water and then painted it. And I left little areas of white here and there. So we get a little bit of glistening off the water. I'm going to take a picture of this. And I think I'm going to have to dry it with the hairdryer. We'll see.
Take your time.
What's that?
Take your time.
Take your
I'm taking my-
time.
I'm taking my time. You got 3 minutes left.
No way. I protest.
And I still
Yeah,
got
'cause-
water to do.
I think you added another color.
He did. He put cobalt in there on the
No,
Right.
you're talking about the
No.
color?
Yeah,
I
you
took
added
the cobalt and the brown
raw
matter,
sienna. You added raw sienna.
but I took the
That was,
cobalt and the brown matter and I added a little bit of raw sienna and lots of water.
Okay.
And then we have a little bit of
I
bleeding
got it.
from what was still wet on the edges, but that's fine. You want a basic image of what is there very quickly.
sorry.
See if I can get the extension cord. Find these here.
Just unplug something there.
There's nothing. Oh, I see.
Yeah. Just unplug something. I don't know if it.
Dale, it's Diana. Do you want to take a look, please?
Yep, go ahead.
Had to unplug my iPad first. Okay,
All right, you could spray a little bit of water on this here, Diana. And
okay,
let it soften up a little bit more.
okay.
It's a little bit too much.
Should I lift anything off or just,
See what it does when you spray water on it. You might have to lift a little bit, but lift it with a wet paper towel, not a dry one.
yeah. How about the sky?
Show me again.
No?
You could lift a little bit up there too. This up here is a very light grayed down violet up in here. So it had the ultramarine blue and the raw sienna, and it had a little bit of the violet look to it because ultramarine blue is a.
It is sort of a purpley gray.
Yeah, it's a
Not
colorful
gray,
gray, and you have yours a little bit too dark.
Yeah, really? Dark?
You got a bigger storm coming in.
You must be talking about somebody else.
Yeah, really, I'm coming next. Don't worry, I'll be darker.
I'm watching the Edmund Fitzgerald race for the shoreline.
Nice.
It didn't make it.
No. And Gordon Lightfoot died this last week too.
Yeah.
Oh,
He had a great time.
85, 84.
that was
Yeah,
in the New York Times. That was in the New York Times quiz for the news
Yeah.
of the week.
We
Big
were-
news.
We got to go
Thankful.
see him in concert one time. He was fabulous.
Oh, I'll bet.
yeah, no,
Than what was original.
And then the next week we saw American Pie.
Oh, Dave,
Oh, really?
And
Dave
he put on
McLean?
a horrible concert
yeah.
compared to
He
Gordon
did.
Lightfoot. Gordon Lightfoot, people were coming up, bringing him flowers. He was going out in the audience singing. He was so
He's-
personable. David
he's
McLean
so-
just sat on the stage.
John
and-
McLean.
John McLean, and just sat on the stage and played music. And they said no gifts, no nothing.
And when he was done, he walked off. That was it.
All right, Dale, could you take a look?
Yes,
It looks
great.
light.
That's fine. I'd rather have it lighter than too dark.
Okay, yeah, it does look, it seems
This
light.
this is something we have to softly build on. So no hurricanes,
No hailstones.
I'm sorry, but I
No
got
cy-
another
no
storm.
cyclones.
Yeah, well. Must be a different shore.
You have to smile and breathe, Kathleen, while you're painting.
That's the problem. Is that the problem?
Makes for a happier painting.
True, right up there, I was frowning. It's true, it's true.
Yeah, I'm watching you.
Gail, do you want to take another look and tell me if I've taken enough off,
That's
please?
better. That's better.
Okay.
But the line between the yellow and the turbulent sky, see if you could take a damp brush and soften that through here. There's
Okay.
too much of an abrupt change.
And which brush might that be? My cat tongue or?
Any large damp brush. I usually use the 1-inch flat, but any brush basically should work.
I'm not real good with the 1-inch flat. I do better with a 1/2 inch. There's
That's
something
fine.
about
Whatever
One
works
inch.
for you.
it's like too big.
How you coming along, Janet?
I'm on the background in the far shore,
All
getting
right,
in the color,
okay.
doing the green inlets and just another minute,
Okay,
and all I have left is water.
all right. But basically, you're always trying to keep your edges soft. You don't really want any hard edges 99% of the time.
I think I have hard edges, but here we go. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, good, light, airy. The only thing you can do right along this shoreline in here is take a damp brush and soften it a little bit. But it's not imperative that you make it real soft because the rocks are going to create a little bit harder edge as we move through it. But you're fine.
I will do that. Thank you.
I feel like I'm doing a seance with you today.
But I'm right here.
In a dark room, I hear voices, but I don't see you.
We can see me now.
I can see you now, yes. The
I'm
apparition
here.
disappeared.
Right.
All right, that's good though. You're fine. Kathleen, how are you doing?
Not that good. I'm,
That's not-
I'm,
That's not the
That,
answer.
yeah, that, what I said, you know.
You'll get it.
that-
It's like anything else, it takes practice.
Practice.
It's like dance and playing a musical instrument or singing. Practice.
Right.
well, I can't dance.
I can't either.
Don't ask me, I can't dance. Don't ask me. Right, wasn't that a song of ours?
I think so.
Some point in our life.
People always ask me what I do on the weekends, and I tell them I work at a lounge. I tell jokes, I dance and I sing, and the dancing's lousy, the singing's worse, but the jokes are pretty good.
There.
I got a critic.
I just heard what Merrily said. What did she say?
I've got a critic
That-
here.
She said, and
Hey,
he
Jeff-
said, the jokes are good, and she said, they are?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
it is a jazzy, huh?
You know, Dale, I have a problem distinguishing burnt sienna from yellow ochre.
Yellow, yeah, raw
Raw
sienna.
sienna?
Raw sienna and yellow ochre, they seem,
Well, raw sienna and yellow ochre are both yellows, yes. The raw sienna is warmer and a little bit darker in temperature, where the yellow ochre is cooler in temperature and it's lighter in value. Now, you can get away with either one for this painting.
okay,
They're close enough to where you can interchange them in many cases. I used to use yellow ochre and raw sienna, and I thought, well, they're pretty close, so I picked the warmer one out of choice. But if I was painting a winter scene, and had to use that yellow, I would use the yellow ochre because it's cooler and winter scenes are cooler. But if I use enough water, I can usually get the raw sienna fairly close with a little bit of cobalt blue in it. So the reason why I keep the palette small is so that the students understand how to cross mix colors more, rather than having all these other colors on the palette. But I am playing with an option right now of adding a vermilion red, not a cadmium red medium, but a vermilion red to the palette. And that's just for different situations that do arise.
I don't even know if I have a vermilion red.
I know I don't.
Well, it's close to the cadmium red light. But the reason why I chose the vermilion, it doesn't have cadmium in it.
Oh, okay,
That is the main reason. And also, the second thing is vermilion is a little bit more intense, and it's a little bit nicer color to work with when you're mixing with other colors. And again, that comes down to an opinion, personal choice of any artist.
No, only cadmium red light
Yeah,
and brown matter and alizarin crimson.
well, alizarin crimson, I don't like working because it doesn't play well with other colors. So that's why I chose the brown matter. It's got a little bit more of an earth tone to it. and it doesn't destroy other colors quickly. Because you could take alizarin crimson and add it to the sap green, and the sap green will turn muddy almost instantly.
Mm.
But I'm personally not a big fan of it. I have friends that use it. I have a friend that uses phthalo green, which I'm not a fan of phthalo green either.
I think the video might have interrupted. You might want to have Marilee check.
I don't see.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me call you back.
Oh,
Oh, that's what it was. Never mind.
What? Who was talking besides me?
Deborah had a call, I think.
Oh, that's
Sorry, I had a phone call and it interrupts the computer for some
Oh,
reason.
okay. Stop that.
just sounded like your thing shutting off.
All right, because there's no problem that showed up here. Can I see yours, Kathleen? I want to see where you're at.
Yeah.
You got a smile.
Okay.
You gotta
Yeah.
smile when you show me.
Hey.
Much better.
Yeah, much better. Did you just really say that to me?
Yeah, when you smile, it's much better when you're painting.
Yay. I'll bet you're right, actually. I'll bet you're pretty right.
Well, I've been wrong before too.
And he's pretty.
And he's pretty. Well, there we have it all, don't we?
I guess.
Okay, one last place to put
All
some
right.
color.
Today is my granddaughter's 4th birthday, and my husband's out trying to find her a present.
Aw.
And of course, he needs
It'll have,
guidance.
it'll have to be grandma approved before you give it to her, though, I'm sure.
Is he pretty good at doing
No,
that?
no.
And
did you
honest,
give him ideas?
I told him exactly what to get. It's just,
Now,
Good
Deborah,
luck, right?
Deborah, you know that guys don't always listen.
well, it's not that. It's finding things.
Yeah, I know. Ever since we lost Toys R Us, it's hard to find what you need for a child, for toys.
No, Dale. Finding things.
Yeah,
period, anywhere.
Who knows what I'm talking about? Come on,
I-
Marilee.
Oh, yeah, because they won't ask for directions when they get into a store.
he's probably
And
at
not
Or
They
or
can't find-
anything.
he's
Well,
probably
yeah.
right now.
He's gonna get her a little baby tool belt. He's
Well, that would
probably-
be okay.
He had a grandson.
You know what? Girls need to know how to fix things too.
Absolutely,
That's
God
true.
knows.
That's true.
We do more than men in fixing our houses, I think.
If I didn't turn the screwdriver, things would have fallen apart years ago.
I think we read the directions when all else fails.
Yeah, we won't do any more man bashing though, Dale.
Oh,
Okay.
Or else he's gonna,
Okay,
I'm gonna give,
okay,
I'm gonna give you guys trouble today.
I'm coming.
Let's see what you got, Kathleen.
I'm doing it. Here we go.
All right, that's pretty good, except for the water you haven't blocked in yet.
I did. There's water there. See, there's what? Oh, there's water. Oh, it's so pale. Holy camole. Oh man, and my sky's so dark. I did exactly the opposite of what I'm supposed to do.
No,
God
your
dang it.
sky is fine, because I'm gonna go over the sky again. You may not have to
Okay.
touch it, but you can add a little bit more value to the water right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
While I'm starting the second phase.
Okay. And what color was I doing in there?
You're supposed to do I had the brown matter and I had the ultramarine or the cobalt blue up in here. I took
Yeah.
that same color, I added raw sienna to it.
Okay,
mixed it with a lot of water and did a very quick wash.
gotcha. Okay.
I thought you added cobalt blue to the water.
I may have down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I added cobalt blue.
That was part of the original mix with the brown mat, you
Yes.
said, the cobalt
Yeah.
brown
Oh, I
mat.
thought it was ultramarine, he said.
Well,
Whatever.
it was cobalt. Okay.
He added, then he added that.
Here we go. All right, what I'm going to do for the second phase, I'm going to start up here in the sky again. And I'm going to take and I'm going to spray again the sky very lightly with water. And I'm going to take the ultramarine blue with the large cat tongue. I'm going to take a little bit of the raw sienna. And I'm going to add a little bit of water to it, not much. And I'm going to paint the second phase of the clouds up in here, and they're going to be kind of floating up in here over the original cloud pattern I put in. So you're seeing light clouds and dark clouds in the same area. And I'm just floating these colors up here. I am not over brushing. I just want them to float on top, and you'll see the color from underneath. So I'm not covering up anything. I am just simply adding more color on top of that and allowing it to float. Now I'm going to take the toothbrush with a little bit of water on it because I don't want to use them as much water as I had with the spray. Just a little bit more over here. And I just want these to float on top.
Did you say ultramarine and raw sienna?
Raw sienna, yes. So you can see that I'm not over brushing it. I'm allowing it to simply float on top of it, take its own form. So I'm not playing with it. And then I'm going to take the toothbrush again down towards the horizon line, just in this area right here. And I want to float a couple clouds in that area. And they're going to be lighter, softer, kinder, gentler. I think a president said that.
You're hired.
Didn't
And I'm
take
just
long.
dropping in those particular clouds. And I'm going to take a little bit more blue and a little bit more raw sienna. That's the ultramarine blue. And I'm going to drop in a little bit more color up here. And it's going to be a little bit more dark because I want a little bit more darkness up in here. And while it's still wet, I can still drop in color and still make it look like it is melding with that second layer. Now, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not going to touch it anymore. It's done. Now I'm going to take the raw sienna and the yellow medium, mix it together here, and then I'm going to take it right into the color that I used for the sky to gray it down. I'm going to add a lot of water, and I'm going to run that through here like so. So we have a little bit of that yellow at the horizon line. And usually there is a little bit more yellow at the horizon line. And I'm slowly going to feather it up into the sky above it, just so that we have a little bit more color going on. I'm going to ignore this part at this point, but I'm going to come down to the water. I'm not even going to touch this time. And I'm going to take the cobalt blue this time, mix it in with the color of the sky, like so. I'm going to add a little bit more raw sienna to this. So we get a little grayish blue again. And I'm going to go right across this very quickly, not playing with it. And as it comes forward, I'm going to have these little swoops of color showing the original wash up towards the front. Not a lot, but just enough.
color?
That's the cobalt blue and the raw sienna mixed in with the sky color.
Okay,
So I have basically added 2 more colors to that. And I'm going back in and I'm adding a little bit of like back and forth movement in a half moon, just to give a feeling of the waves starting to take place. And I'm going to then cover this little area right up there. This is going to be a little bit darker, like so. And that's where I'm going to stop. So it's the ultramarine blue,
Okay,
the raw sienna up on top, darker than what I originally did, but I sprayed this with water very quickly, and I started dropping it in, kind of dabbing it in. I hate to use the word dabbing, but I dabbed it in and I pulled all the way down here, lightening up as I came down. Then I darkened it again and I added more dark up here in this small area up here. Then I came down and I used the yellow through here, very light, and I went right across, and then I went into the water with the cobalt blue and the mixture I used here, and I made this a little bit lighter back here, and I darkened it up front. It will get darker as it comes forward, but I still wanted to show the original value of the watercolor underneath there. So now it's starting to take form of this coming forward. I'm going to have to darken this up back here though, because it's lighter here
What?
as it goes back.
could you explain to me what is it that you see that's lighter and darker on the water?
Well, when you have a flat plane like this,
Yeah.
let me
Yeah.
get a piece of paper towel. This is the water up front. And
Yeah.
then this is the water in the back by the background. Lights get darker as they recede, okay? This is a light and it will get darker as it goes back in the water.
Oh, okay.
Okay, where darks get lighter. It had just the reverse happens.
So are we taking the sky, and so we're taking all of it to light in the far back, in other words?
No, this is darker up here and it gets
Yes.
lighter as it goes back towards the horizon.
Horizon, right.
Right, but the water
And we're
being a light plane, because it's a horizontal plane, the light's coming from above, that will go from light to dark.
Oh, I see. I see. From light to dark. Okay,
Yes.
got it.
That's the water.
Okay.
But we have to create that dome effect for the sky.
I got interrupted by a phone call. Could you tell me the water again was cobalt blue and the raw sienna?
Raw sienna mixed up with a little bit of that color I put up in the sky with the ultramarine.
Right.
And I went from dark to light. And I started moving the brush in different movements to show these little light spots. So it shows a little bit of turbulence on the water.
Okay, could I say that back to you for a minute, please? I want to just make a note of it because I'm having trouble retaining it. So the sky is not the lightest plane in this case. Is that what we're saying? Or
When-
this-
Well, in this case, since we have clouds, in this particular case, this is going to be darker than
The water.
the water.
Okay,
Okay.
so that means the dark of the sky will be darkest closest to us.
Yes, which is just up here at the top. That's where it
Yes,
goes over us. This goes from
Oh.
light to dark.
okay,
Now, usually when you have the different planes of the landscape, the
yeah,
sky is always the lightest in a natural
Yeah.
sunny day. Then the
Right.
horizontal plane of the ground is the second lightest. Then you have
Okay.
slanted planes, which is the third, and the upright planes are the darkest, being vertical. They receive
Yeah,
less.
that's what I thought, just read. That's why I was trying to understand
Carlson's
this.
Guide to Landscape is what I used to have my
Yeah,
students
Yeah.
read. It's an
that's
excellent.
what I've been reading, because you said that, so. So the ocean, all right, let me just try it again. The ocean is gonna be light as, and the foreground. And I mean, the lake is gonna be light in the foreground, but it's gonna be dark at the horizon.
Correct. Be darker.
Okay,
Not dark.
Dark,
but darker
okay,
In
yeah.
relationship. And plus on
Okay.
top of it, as it gets shallower here, you have the floor of the lake reflecting up, which also makes it lighter in many cases.
Oh, gotcha.
Not in-
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Not in all cases, but in many cases.
Okay, and so in our choice is then the landscape that's closest to us. That will be in the lighter, we're choosing to make that lighter, and we'll make the more like the horizon line darker.
It depends on what the subject is, because you can have, since this has nothing but water here, you can have,
Yeah.
let's say we have grasses. And the grasses,
Yeah.
the lights of the grasses will be lighter here and darker as it goes back.
Okay,
And the
I'm pretty
darks that are in, the darks that are in the grass will be darker nearest you, and they'll get lighter as they go back.
okay,
There's a lot of different variables that you have to consider. And you
yeah, I get,
usually pick that up by observation.
okay. And by painting, I would think, right? Depending on what your subject is, you're looking at it,
Oh, yes,
so.
correct. And it
You can
depends on the
enact-
light of the day.
Right.
Being overcast, we don't have any sharp shadows in this.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
the light is diffused and it goes out.
okay,
So it's like having a frosted window in a glass door, and you're sitting in a dark room. If it's frosted glass with light coming through, it illuminates the whole room. If it's clear
Yes.
glass, you'll see a beam of light come through.
yes, okay.
Or as they say on the border of Mexico and Texas, pues donde viviera que atrás es lleno, y pues donde viviera mucho que atrás.
Oh my God, you sound like that commercial.
Speak Spanish. Who knew?
Who knew?
I don't speak a foreign language. I mimic it.
Habla despacio, por favor, no entiendo.
Oh, petiano que
Okay.
viviera cierto.
My favorite,
Okay?
my favorite Spanish phrase is la camisa roja.
My kitchen is red.
No, that's the red shirt.
Ah,
Camisa, okay, yeah.
It used to work-
Cochina is
used to
kitchen.
work good on telemarketers.
Or when,
Bueno, bueno.
or people that were begging on the streets of Chicago.
No habla español.
Me neither.
Estudio para 5 años, pero no hablo bien.
You're good, Diana.
I deal with a lot of Hispanic help.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I shop at Pete's Market, and I swear everybody there is Hispanic. And so I try to listen to what they're saying, and then I try to respond, and then of course they want to engage you. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 habla despacio.
Funny. My father-in-law still remembered Spanish from high school.
He graduated in 39.
He graduated in 39. He could converse with really no problem.
wow. It's
All right.
impressive.
All right, if you want to take a look at this, I'm going to stop making waves in my lake.
Okay. Was there a question in between that?
Yeah, no, this is Diane. I asked if you wanted to take a look. Wait, let me pull this back up here. Are you there?
Oh, yeah. Okay, hold it up again. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Your water is getting a little dark. You're gonna have to adjust the shoreline in the background, but you're
The
still.
back shoreline, not the front.
Yeah, the back shoreline, the back here, which I'm going into
Yeah.
next. The sky I'm not touching anymore, most likely.
Okay.
I just wanted that little soft turbulent look and that was it.
Okay,
Okay.
to mine next. Kind of wet.
Okay, you're fine. You have one light white spot right here.
Yeah, that's
Take
a
a light,
thundercloud.
after that dries, take a light wash over that. Looks like the moon coming through. But take a little
All
light
right.
wash through that.
All
It's a
right,
cloud that doesn't want to be unhappy.
No. Try this a little bit more.
Okay.
How you doing, Janet?
I'm about ready to show you. In fact, here we go.
There you are. Okay, don't do any more. You're done with this phase.
Yay.
And all I do is have to check Catherine's, wherever she went.
that's the window.
Oh, the boats are coming into town. Catherine, are you there? Can I see what you got?
You couldn't hear me. I'm sorry, the water was running over. I had to quick run and get it.
All right. Okay, so far so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Okay.
fine.
A little too much, but okay.
All right, let's start up again. I'm gonna take my smaller round brush, which is a number 6, I think. And I'm gonna go into the background shoreline. And I'm gonna take the ultramarine blue and the brown matter here. And I'm gonna gray it slightly with the burnt sienna. Need a little bit more blue. A little bit more brown matter. There we go. And just a touch of cobalt. There we are. Okay. I'm going to take this mixture here and I'm going to dry my brush off. And I am going to dry brush this in back here. I don't want too much definite back there. May add a little bit more cobalt again. And I'm going to paint around the islands that are in front of the furthest shore. And I'm doing this very simply. I had a little bit more character out in this one, but I'm painting around.
Around that,
What's that?
around the islands.
Yeah, around
Right.
these islands. I'm gonna let them set in just a little bit after I paint them,
Okay.
because you want to try to keep these on the softer side back there. Now, with that same combination of color, I'm going to take the sap green, mix it in there, add a little bit of ultramarine blue to it. So we get kind of a grayed down blue green. And I'm going to add just a touch of the brown matter to it, just a touch. There we go. And I'm going to take very quickly and dry the brush off, and I'm going to indicate these islands, and I'm going to allow it just to flow up into what I just painted. I need a little bit more blue. I want to change the color just a little bit. Going to make it a little bit darker so it comes out away from that furthest shoreline. Keeping the light of the island or the top of the island a little bit lighter. And trying to keep it simple. So I'm taking my time. Make sure that the bottom is running flat or horizontal with the water. Then I'm coming into the second island over here. And I'm going to take a little bit of cobalt in this one. And I'm going to put that through here like this so that each island is maybe a little bit different than the previous one. You don't want them the same, even though they look the same. Variety is the spice of our artist life here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of the cobalt and just plop a little bit in there just to give it some form. And I'm going to bring it right up on shore. And now I'm going to add a little bit more green to this and some ultramarine blue. And a touch of the burnt sienna. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to put in where the pine trees start on that far shoreline there. Like so, and they're going to come up closer to us. And I'm going to start forming the pines that come off the shoreline here with a dry brush. And how that comes down into the shoreline itself. So I want that kind of fed in a little bit more smoother here. I can always go back in and add certain things to it. This one out here, I'll probably have to get a little bit darker later on, but I'm not concerned about it. It's a minor little thing. And then I'm going to go up and I'm going to form the rest of the tree up here very casually for the most part. And I'm making the tree a little bit more descriptive than the bottom at this point, because as it goes into the bottom here, it becomes a little bit muddled along with the other trees. And I'm being very careful about this shoreline right here. We'll go over it again, but I just want to take my time with making the smaller pines. And then drag that color down a little bit darker. And kind of dry brush it in on the top over here where the fall tree is popping through just a little bit. But we can define this area easier a little bit later on, but I'm trying to give this a little bit of shape over on this side. So I just took some more sap green, some more ultramarine blue. I'm getting the color a little bit more intense and darker as it comes forward. And I am bringing it right up the shoreline here. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to create, after I clean the palette off here, a slurry of that yellow orange with the yellow medium and the brown matter. Lots of brown matter because it's more of an orange than it is a yellow. And I'm going to spritz this right in here. I'm going to take a little bit more yellow so it starts popping out. And again, a little bit more yellow so that it is taking or melding into the pine trees. I'm going to take a little bit of more yellow and add it into here. And I'm going to add that up in here also. And I'm going to get a little bit of green through there. Now, at the same time, I'm going to take the burnt sienna, mix it in with that same color, and I'm going to dry brush that in to the shoreline up close first, and then it's going to get lighter, and I'm going to take a little bit of green with it, and I'm going to add the green into that shoreline, and I'm going to bring it right on down. I'll worry about the rocks in there a little bit later. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that green, mix it in again. And I'm going to swoop it down to the shoreline. I've got the shoreline coming out here. I want to lift it up there. I want a little bit more water in between there. Like so. That comes out right there. And I'm dry brushing all of this. I'm going to take a lot more green, some of the blue, and then some of that yellow color from up here. I'm going to add a lot of water to it, and I'm going to slowly creep this into the rock so that there's no hard edge there. So we have multiple colors swooping down this way. And then I'm going to add a little bit of warmth to it over here. And we'll leave the rocks for next time. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take the yellow again with that mixture I have up in here, and I'm going to spritz that up in here. And we can model the tree out of that later. Then I'm going to take some straight yellow, and I'm going to put that in here.
Which two yellows did you use? How did you, I mean, what were the mixes?
I took the straight yellow, mixed it in with a little bit of what I had previous mixed here. So it's not straight yellow. It'd be too bright.
Okay. Sure.
And
I just don't know what you were mixing there. Sorry, I'm catching up.
that's right.
Sorry.
And then I'll take and I'll add a little bit down at the bottom. So now we've got the shoreline established. We got this shoreline down to the rocks, looking at how this moves in a sweep down.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going to leave it. So we use the ultramarine blue and the brown matter for back here, grayed down with a touch of the raw sienna. And I'm going to emphasize this the darker islands out front. I want them to pull away. Then I started with the sap green and the ultramarine blue with a little bit of burnt sienna here. Then I went to the yellow orange and the orange.
Wait.
This-
Sap green and ultramarine blue, you're
Right
on the
here.
trees, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Then what?
And then I went to the brown matter and the yellow medium with a little bit of burnt sienna in it, and I started painting different shades of that color and then down to more burnt sienna on the shoreline. Then I took that and added a little bit of green to it and swooped it down to the shore.
Okay, so in the evergreens there, you were just mixing the two, sap green and the ultramarine?
Yes, with a little bit of the burnt sienna.
Okay,
Those are going to go a lot darker. They're going to be a little bit more prominent. I made this a little bit heavier than what's in the photograph because I felt that it was needed.
sure. No, I figured that from your sketch, but, so, manganese blue is not coming in at all, but instead we've added burnt.
I will be using manganese blue.
Oh,
down
you will?
here. Yeah.
Okay.
It will be put in. I've been avoiding it on purpose,
Okay,
which I really shouldn't have done, but I'm going to try to get away with it. Because you don't
Okay.
like to enter something in that's kind of foreign at this point, but it will work.
So why did you avoid it on purpose?
It was too intense at the beginning.
Just wondering.
So Dale, this
Just a minute, Deborah.
tree. Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, Deborah.
Okay.
I was rinsing out my sponges. Okay, go ahead.
So on this right side, right with that orangey, what is that?
That's the brown
What is it?
matter, the yellow medium, and a little bit of the burnt sienna over here. And then I came down here and I used more burnt sienna for the foliage that's on the ground. So let me hold it up here so you can see it. So there's a lot of different colors going on in this area. And I'm starting to run a little bit too much. And I'll be right back. Don't go away.
Is it me? Yeah. Bless you.
Any questions at all?
Okay, now I'm gonna go back and do the trees now. You know, Dale, when you did the water,
Yeah,
and you did that second layer, you know, I was in the back, I was trying to get an initial in. Could you talk to me about how you did those strokes, and did you spray the water or?
no, the
Or not.
water was, the water was dry and I kept it very simple back here. And as I came
Okay.
forward, I darkened it with more ultramarine blue and I started
You
taking
didn't
a
let the dog in.
smaller brush and I started moving it kind of in a swooping thing to get the feeling of the waves coming up. Very
Okay,
simple. Here,
Okay.
I'll bring it up closer to the camera.
thank you. I'd love to see that.
See,
Yeah,
Not much there.
yes,
But it's
Yeah.
darker and it has that swoopy feeling. It's a
it does.
term in watercolor, swoopy.
Swoopy. Okay, I'll try to retain that. Thank
There was a
you.
song about that back in the 70s, Hang On Swoopy.
Sloopy. It was Sloopy.
Oh, swoopy, sloopy, you know, it's all the same.
Sloopy, Sloopy.
Oh, the ATVs are out now. Boats and ATVs. We have switched seasons officially.
Want to take a look, Dale?
Yes. Okay, good. You're fine. You can keep this a little bit. If you see the serrations through here, it's not so even. Just kind of
Okay,
drifted down there. It's kind of a yellowish, bluish, green combinations in here. That
Right.
pulls some of this color down, but the rest of it's pretty good.
okay.
Still trying to keep my edges on the softer side.
Dale,
Yeah,
it's Kathleen again. On the water, I'm sorry, I'm still there. You did the cobalt and you mixed it in the water, did you? You do the brown sienna
No.
again?
no, I took the ultramarine, a little bit of cobalt and some raw sienna for the foreground. If I
But
can.
raw, added raw sienna in the water.
You see the yellow in there?
I do.
Just, it's a
Okay.
tinge of it, just a very small amount.
Okay. Got it. And the burnt sienna. Oh, no, and the
Raw
ultramarine.
sienna. Raw sienna is yellow, burnt sienna is a red, orange grade down.
Yeah, okay.
I use a lot of burnt sienna in my paintings for graying things down because it's already grayed down. It's a grayed down red, orange.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That makes sense.
When I paint in the studio, I will add different colors to my color palette that you have. And I'll take colors out and put colors in. But the reason why I use this palette for demonstrations is it forces the student to cross mix a lot of colors or the colors that we have to get various other colors. So simplified palette is much easier to learn on than one that has too many colors.
Sure.
Because you could be off on the color a little bit, long as your values are correct. Values come first, color is second. Because value does all the work, as they say, and colors don't do all the work. They just add glory to the.
They
rest.
get the glory.
Yes. But if the values are not right, the colors will not help.
Mhm.
Okay.
Got it? It's always best to handle things simply than to over handle something. And that's the hard part, because we have a tendency of wanting it detailed, and detail is not important to the very, very, very end. Because you're painting large masses first, then you're painting the leaves of the tree, and then some of the branches, and then the trunk to hold that mass up, whatever it may be. And that painting of the snow scene I did last week with that little house, somebody bought it on the internet.
No kidding. That's great.
And I only did a half hour more work on it when I got it home.
Yeah, but tell them the sweet story that goes with it.
The lady emailed me, wanted to know if it was for sale. And I said, yes, it is. And I said, private message me. She did. And she's waiting for her social security check to come in.
Oh,
But the sad part was that she is now the caretaker of her husband since March, because he has cancer. And this painting reminded her of where she used to go as a child.
oh, how nice. So she had a good part in her day.
Yeah,
And when the paint arrives, it'll be even better.
and she's been watching me for quite a while on Zoom Saturdays, Facebook Live.
Isn't that nice that she could now purchase something?
Yeah.
All right. Talk me through the tree. Now, I'm just now going to the trees, so you all, I know you're gonna hate me for it, so I'm sorry. I'll
Just
do my best.
allow all of this up here, Catherine, to meld together. We'll go back and
Okay.
separate it later.
Okay.
We don't want to do separate things at the beginning. Allow them to kind of flow together, and then we divide and conquer later. And you're not stuck with what you're seeing all the time. Remember, nature's very forgiving, because there's a couple different things I'm going to do here that is not in the photograph. There's all that delicate little birch tree that's coming up through there with the orange, yellow-orange leaves.
Yeah.
That is going to be a little bit larger and not as delicate looking.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would have handled it in a different way. And I can't tell you because it's a secret.
Oh, of course. That's what they pay you the big bucks for, right?
Big bucks.
Those secrets, I know. Yeah.
Janet, can I see yours?
I'm I'm still working on evergreens, so I don't know if you
Well,
really
I
want to
still
see
can
it
see
just
it.
yet. I'm on evergreens, and then you're gonna go, well, do this, but I haven't gotten there yet.
All right, well, you want that yellow orange just sort of melding with the rest of it. Here, take a look up close. There's nothing.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Well, step on the gas.
Hold on to your horses.
That was,
step
give
on
me
the
a
gas and
break.
Throw that color in.
Sounds like, give me a break.
I'm getting there. Hold.
I've been
Hold.
pushing Janet to go faster since she was 12.
Aha, okay. You guys.
Dale,
wait.
Dale, you did some splattering with the toothbrush somewhere. Where was that?
I did that with water and then I added the yellow medium straight in here. Bring it up closer. And you can see that it dissolved into the greens and so forth. So
Okay.
it just was a little bit extra. Then it was real wet and I took my paper towel and I just dabbed it up so that it would get lighter within that area. Did you hear that, Janet?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you serious?
I didn't hear, I'm sorry.
Okay, I added the greens in here, then the yellow oranges, and then the straight yellow with the toothbrush. And while
Yeah.
it was wet, I went in with a paper towel, damp paper towel, and I dabbed it up just a little bit so that I end up with different variations of that color through here. And I can go back in and divide later. So it just sort of fell into it.
Okay. We'll see how this goes.
All right.
All right, Dale, I'm not happy with any of it, but you can look at it if you want.
All right, it's not that bad. That's good. You've got-
Nice.
You've got a little bit of a sharp edge in here, but we're going to work with that, so leave it alone.
Well, I figure we're gonna put rocks there, so
Yeah, it's fine. I can't remember what we're doing next week. It's either this here, I don't know if you can see that. So what, there we go.
Oh,
no,
a
we don't want that
waterfall.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
No, we don't want that
waterfall.
one. What are our other choices?
Waterfall, yeah.
No.
Is that a yes or no? Or we're doing this one, I can't remember. This is a small
Waterfall.
town in the Upper Peninsula. This is the whole town.
Wow.
That's it. There's nothing on the other side of the road. That's the town. And there are actually people living and working there.
Okay, 3 businesses?
Yes, it's actually 3 businesses and there's no gas
Yeah.
station.
And they're making money and they're happy.
And they're doing fine. They're happy, healthy, and productive.
Kind of sounds like that movie of that town where you can't get out. There's a movie that I hate. And once you get in there, you can't get out of there.
That's New York.
I thought it was
I think it,
California.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it was in upstate New York somewhere.
Oh. Wonder what movie that was.
What is the name of that movie?
Is it Groundhog?
No, it's a new movie. It's one of those one syllable I can't think of it. Then or now or
Is that the one
Arrow.
with Jennifer Garner in it?
no.
Okay, because it's sort of a weird psychological thriller kind of movie.
Yeah, she's in one like that too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't like those.
Oh,
I can't watch
I
them.
don't watch those
I
kinds,
mean,
so.
I know what you
I
mean. It
can't.
won a lot of awards, the one you're talking about. Didn't it? It's a brand, it's Spike, was it Spike Lee or that did it or something? Oh,
Um,
and
yeah,
you
I wish somebody was here to tell me. Then, now, wait.
can't get out, yeah, stop, quit, no. What was that?
Once you get past 21, Deborah, it's hard to remember things.
Can't. Yeah, it's true.
We just got done watching The Rabbit Hole with Kiefer Sutherland.
It's on Paramount
It was
Plus.
Oh.
it was on Paramount Plus, and it,
Was it good?
yeah, it was a little confusing in some parts, but it's about a group of rich people, very rich people, overtaking the U.S. government to control it and its people.
Good.
Kind of
Kind of
has a
sounds
feeling
like
of-
today.
It has kind of a
Yeah.
feeling
Right.
down today. I
How
hate
is
to
it
say that, but
How they're using artificial intelligence to take over the country.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I think I saw him on Good Morning America or something like that with that.
then, yeah, yeah. They're actually, from different reports we've heard, they're teaching artificial intelligence to lie.
I've been doing a lot of
Oh.
research.
So it's no different than what's going on now, except it's artificial intelligence.
I've been
They're
doing
all lying.
a lot of research because the artificial intelligent writing tools are amazing. And I hate to write, so if it can help me. But so then I went in my own rabbit hole and started reading about all this other AI stuff. And it's like,
How's it go?
Neil, listen to this.
She can suggest something that she wants written and it'll come up with 7 to 9 answers.
Oh, my God.
Wow. What
In 8
what program is that? I need
in
that.
8 seconds.
I'll put, you know what, I'll put it in Dale's email that goes out, the links.
Thank you.
One of
That would
them,
I
be,
use, yeah.
one of them is Grammarly. I love that. It's $144 a year, and usually I try to find anything free. But it corrects all my grammar problems, you know, punctuation. If you're talking in a passive voice, it'll help you. And so they've just put in a new AI thing,
That
but you can also do it for free. And then there's
Excellent.
another one. So I'll include those 2 links for you.
Cool, great.
but writes for you, not grammar, but writes. I need one that I can talk to and it writes.
Oh, they do that.
Oh, yeah, you talk to it and it writes.
Yeah. That's the dictation part of it, but you can do that on your phone too.
No, I can dictate, but when it writes, I mean, it writes better.
But
Well, that's what this does.
Grammarly will correct you as you go. And also what I like about it is when I was working on my Dillman's presentation, my workshop, there are a few things, there's a couple people I follow, and I couldn't say it any better than they do, but I don't want to copy what they posted. So you can take it into Grammarly, put it in there, it'll tell you if it's been plagiarized, and then it helps you rewrite it so it's no longer plagiarized.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Wow is right.
need that.
So I will include one more link, and it's to Adobe. And I
Yeah.
showed Dale this. It's called Firefly, I think, and it's still in beta. But it took a summer picture of a field with a structure in the background, leaves on a tree. It was probably like around August. And you type in there, turn it into a winter snow scene, and it does it. The leaves are gone. It's a photo.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
Oh, wow. That's
almost
creepy,
frightening.
isn't it? Yeah, that's what, that one just creeped me out.
And that's why Elon Musk is saying, let's put this,
brakes.
the brakes on this, because all
Oh,
these,
yeah.
all
For
these
Google
platforms
too.
are introducing artificial intelligence in the last month. That's in the beta testing, but It's,
It's
and we've
dangerous.
been using it for a long time, spell check is artificial intelligence. But this is now taking like a major jump in. So I've been reading up on it.
Cool.
Okay, anybody,
We'll expect a report next week.
does anybody else have anything to show me?
I will.
Oh, we got Janet. She's back among the living.
I don't know, this looks pretty not good. The orange just looks like black.
That you're fine, trust me.
Okay,
Don't
then I
worry.
think, yeah, I've got it all done.
Yes, well, up to date so far.
Yes.
I'm not done, so you can't be done.
She might be in the future.
Okay, Deborah, did I look at yours?
You did, but you can look again.
Okay, you're fine. All right, good. Oh, I like that. That's coming along good. And Diana, did I look at yours?
Yeah, you told me that my rock area was too dark,
That's
but
right,
we're gonna
okay.
fix that.
Good. And Kathleen, where are you at right now?
I'm ready to show you. Yay, got up, I think.
I've got
Got
to
up.
come
I'm
in.
gonna go grab some more clean water.
I think I caught up.
All right,
Find
good.
the picture. Find the picture.
And then I can get going and finish this up.
Okay. This up.
All right, that's coming along nice. Good. All right, I'm gonna continue.
Do I have the values right?
You're
Better
fine.
now? The
Yeah,
values?
much better.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna-
Anything I have to do in this?
No, you're fine. I like it.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna start off
Okay.
on the island.
you.
part. And I'm gonna start off with the green. And I'm gonna take the manganese blue. So I'm gonna go in and enter it right now. Gonna spray this a little bit. Getting a little sticky out here. So I'm taking with the green, the sap green and the manganese blue. I'm going to take that and make more of a greenish color. And I'm gonna add the raw sienna to it and then a touch of the ultramarine blue. A little bit more of a touch. There we go. Now we're dark enough. And I'm gonna go into the islands out here. So I'm gonna very carefully, I'm gonna warm them up a little bit from what they are. And I'm gonna take a little bit of straight manganese mixed in with the green. And I'm gonna add a little bit more blue. So that the color of the island, I'm gonna hold this up closer. You can see has various colors in it. So it's just not one color, one value.
Which
What?
blue are you using?
I'm using the manganese now.
Oh, manganese blue, green, and
Yes,
that's it.
a little bit of ultramarine blue. I'm trying to separate those islands from the furthest shoreline a little bit. And I'm giving them a little bit more character than what they have in the photograph.
Did you say you just added ultramarine blue?
Yes, I did. Now I'm adding more ultramarine blue to this shoreline.
Okay.
And I'm going to take and punctuate it with a little bit of manganese blue here. And that should pull it forward just a little bit because of the intensity. Then I'll go back to a little bit darker and I'm going to bring this right along through here. Like so. Now, I'm gonna lay this down now, so I had to prop it up on me. So I've got this dark blue green here. I'm gonna add a little bit more blue to it. And I'm gonna add a little bit of the burnt sienna. Touch more blue. And I'm
Which
gonna,
blue are you adding?
what's that?
Which blue are you adding?
Ultramarine blue. The darker blue. And I'm gonna dry that off on a paper towel. Like so. And then I'm going to start dry brushing in a much, much darker value at the bottom to separate that from the background. And then I'm slowly going to bring it up, showing a lot of character in the pine tree, more than what's there. Of course, I don't care what's there. I'm worried about what the painting is going to look like more than the photograph is telling me. I'm going to bring that up to there. I'm going to add a little bit of the manganese blue to the top of this because it does get cooler as it goes away from us. Like so. And then I'm going back to the darker blue, blue-green, and I'm going to start separating the forest green from the yellow-orange. And I'm going to bring up some smaller trees here, pine trees. And I'm just going to be very careful in being very casual about putting them in, because I don't want to overstate those pine trees. Then I'm going to come down to the bottom. I'm going to add a little bit more blue to this. Same mixture here. And I'm going to darken in. And I'm now shaping that shoreline here to a little bit more perspective on it. I'm going to take some of this green here that I originally mixed up, and I'm going to add that in over here. So it changes color, temperature, value. And I want to bring in some dry brushing here on top to form the foliage of that birch. So we have a little bit of that greenery behind here. And I am looking at the photograph now for a shape that interests me. And I'm going to, while this is wet, I'm going to pull in a birch tree, scrape it in with my finger. So that will help break up this space in here. So let me bring it up closer so you can see it. And then I'm going to make another blue-green here with ultramarine blue, sap green, and a little bit of the brown matter. It's a little bit warmer where this is cooler back here. And I'm going to bring up some green underneath there so that you're seeing the underneath part into the woods. Take a toothbrush with water on it. Spray some water on it like so. And then I'm coming up to mixing with that original green, and I'm going to dry brush that in there so that the color of that yellow, orange will be broken up more, not so heavy. Now, at the same time, while we've got that set, I'm going to create a tree that comes out here. And I'm going to take the blue-green here, a little bit of this green, and I'm going to put in a pine tree that comes out of the shoreline like so. And I'm going to add very lightly. I don't want it as dark as this large pine here. It's kind of one of those sparse pines that kind of lean out once in a while because the shoreline got a little bit weaker.
Yeah.
But I feel it needed something leaning out, overlapping to set that background back just a little bit further. Dry the brush off a little bit. And I'm going to take a little bit of that manganese blue again. Dry the brush off a little bit.
Which brush are you using? Your liner?
Using the rigger,
That's what I thought. Okay.
or the liner, as some people will label it, depends on who you buy the brush from. And I want to make the bottom part of the trunk a little bit warmer as it comes down into that dark, so it doesn't separate as much. So right now we have a tree that leans out. Now, I just thought it was a small thing that was needed. Now I'm
Could
gonna
you bring it
come
again?
in- Go ahead.
One more,
What's that?
could you just bring it forward again one more time, just so we can see it?
And did you add burnt sienna at the
Focus.
bottom or
Doesn't-
brown madder?
Okay, focus.
I
Okay.
used the burnt sienna with the green on the trunk at the bottom.
Okay.
It's a minor little change because it's going to go from dark to light. I don't want any dark up here. It'll stick out too much with all the light.
Right.
Just an adjustment there. All right, now I've got burnt sienna mixed in with that green that I had down here. And I'm going to break up this area here. I don't want it to be one continuous line of color. So I'm going to put in some darks down here. And I'm going to take the paper towel and I'm going to help break this up just a little bit. This is the shoreline going out. I've extended that a little bit more than what it is in the photograph. I'm going to take a little bit of that cobalt blue and I'm going to start feeding this in to that area and then break this up here. So I'm jumping along through here so that it doesn't have that stripe of burnt orange. Now, before we go any further, I do want to take the 1-inch flat brush and I want to extend these trees up a little bit more. This one just a little bit more. And I want to put one back in here that holds up that yellow-orange value here. Run it through the trees a little bit and up and out. I also want to have a couple of fallen logs here to add to the shoreline. And that will also help break up the shoreline a little bit, add a little bit more interest. Logs falling in different directions. Soften this back here just a little bit. Soften this out here just a little bit. Then I'm going to start with the rocks. Now, the rocks, I'm going to be taking some of the magnesium blue, taking a little bit of this burnt sienna here, that's right here, mix it in with that so you get kind of a nice bluish gray. And I'm going to put in the start of the rocks in here. And I'm just dabbing them abstract in, and I'm being very careful to leave the original wash of color. Okay.
Yeah, wait for the camera to focus when you hold it up. Otherwise, all we see is a blur of color.
Okay,
Hang
we're
on, it
focusing.
didn't focus. Not yet. It's not focused. Maybe it's too close.
How's that?
That's better.
And as we come forward, I'm going to add a little bit more warmth into the rocks. Now, when
So
you're
what colors were you using for those rocks?
I'm using the manganese blue and a little bit of the burnt sienna to get this color right here.
Okay, and that's the first time with that, right?
Yes. Now I'm adding a
Yeah.
little bit more burnt sienna because they're coming towards us. And I want to add a little bit more warmth to it. And will also give a little bit more variety.
Okay.
So I'm not,
So
I'm not overworking the rocks at all. I'm going to take a little bit of that more burnt sienna and I'm going to put some darker ones up in this area.
So my manganese and burnt sienna don't come out that dark. What else is in there?
What name brand are you using?
Core.
Okay, I think it's your monitor then, to be truthful.
Because
the
are they
monitor-
sort of brownish or are they
It's a brownish green,
brownish green?
and I'm
Okay.
adding, while this is still here, I'm adding other darks in here. Now I'm gonna take the toothbrush to push this along a little bit quicker and a little bit easier, a little bit more random. And I'm going to use a lot of water with this, and I'm going to add some texture in here. Then I'm going to go back to the rocks. And I'm seeing a variety of colors here. So I'm taking the cobalt blue, mixing it right in here. And I'm going to add some other rocks in here, just casually. And I'm looking at the pattern, trying to make it as random as possible without creating too much of a perfect pattern. As soon as you get into the perfect looking patterns, it's going to look forced. And this is where you could spend hours messing with things. I got a little bit too much spatter here, so I'm going to pull it up. But it's a matter of putting them down, looking at them and see where you want to develop them, how you want to develop them. You may lift up some of them. I'm going to put down a little bit of raw sienna mixed in with some of this stuff, grayed down, and I'm going to put that right down in here. And I'm going to kind of crisscross it to create a random pattern. Darken up the corner so my eye doesn't go there. I'm going to take a little bit of cobalt here, because we got a lot of blues in the rocks. And I'll pull down some of the color from the sky. So you have to make it random. Otherwise, it's not going to feel right. Now, I'll bring it up as close as I can to make it, if you take a look. Now, I look at it in the monitor, there's one thing I see that bothers me. Is this line right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we need to do, this is why I always get up and look from a distance of what it looks like. I'd never examine something close up. Looking at it from a distance will be a little bit more valuable. Now that broke that up. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to start painting the water again. I want to put a few more dark rocks back in here. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm emulating what's there, but not copying. So I'm going to clean the palette here. I'm going to go into the water using the manganese. And I'm going to take these two brushes here, my 1/2 inch cat tongue and my number 6 round. And I'm going to take the manganese color here. Like so, it's nice and bright, but I want to tone it down. So I'm going to take the raw sienna and I'm going to take a little bit of the burnt sienna. That will gray it down even more. And a touch of the sap green. We need a little bit more burnt sienna. Too much. So I'm going to take a little bit more of the manganese. There we are. Okay. So we know that the background here is darker, the foreground is lighter, but I'm still going to sneak up on it. I think I need a little cobalt in there. There we go. There we are. So I added cobalt at the end. So I am going to go in here and I am going to very lightly, and I'm using a dry brush here to a certain extent. And I am looking at the photograph a little bit at this point. And I'm going to start with the waves up here again. But I'm starting further back. Just need to lay this
And
down.
what color are you using, please?
I use the manganese blue, a little bit of raw sienna, a little bit of sap green, and a touch of the cobalt.
What's the matter, babe? You okay?
And I'm drying the brush off in this case, at this point. And I am doing some bigger sweeps here. And I'm going to add a little bit more cobalt to it, to that same mixture. And I want a little bit more color back in here.
Interesting.
Okay.
Then I'm going to dry it off again, mix it in with what I had, and I'm going to dry the brush off, and I'm using it on its side here. So we get a little bit more texture, movement of the waves. I'm going to make this a little bit darker again back here. There we go.
Sound like you've been eating.
And a touch of ultramarine mixed in with that. And the thing about it gets darker as you go back, but the part of the waves that are not receiving as much light are actually darker here as it folds away from the light source to get that bounciness in the waves. Now, at that point, leave it dry, see what it does, because we all know it dries lighter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to now pick out the crashing waves where I feel they should be. And you don't want them as light as what's in the photograph, but I'm going to get them fairly light. A little bit light down here. And we've got a little bit of light right in here. So I keep on massaging the paper to a certain extent to pull up that light. Now I can make it lighter, not by adding anything to it, but doing something around it, which I'll show you in a second. I'm going to add a few little white caps out here. Now, what I can do around it is I can take some of the same mixture here. While this is dry, I'm going to add a little bit of dark around it, which will make this appear to be lighter. So it's all about value relationship. I don't want too much, but just enough. I'm going to come in here and make this a little bit darker. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to have the feeling of some waves crashing back here, which is not in the photograph, but I feel it's needed. And I'm going to soften a little bit of this. This has got a little bit too much busyness going on. This will give it a little bit more character back there. And again, I'm going to go back in to this. It's still a little wet. I'm taking a chance here, but I do want to add a little bit of darkness to these waves up front. Just to have it come forward a little bit more. This is where you take your time. there's really not a lot of value change from foreground to background, but it's enough there to make it lay down. Now, if you want to, you can take a little bit of white gouache, mix it right into there, giving you that option, and to add some lighter lights in here, or defined lights, I should say. And that might work out a little bit better. Give a little bit of white cap here and there. Then I can add the same color in on some of the birch trees back here to give it a little bit more definition. Not too much, it'll take away from everything. And I can take this color here with a little bit of the white. I know I'm adding things in that were not on the list, but I figure why not? Can't hurt anything. And I'm adding a few light rocks in there, but I can add a few more dark rocks. So I'm going to take the ultramarine blue and the burnt sienna with a little bit of the green in it. And I'm going to define a few of the darks on the rocks here. And I'm squinting down at this point, so I'm not over working these things. So we get a few darks in on the beach here, especially up towards this area here. Not so much down here, I'll add a few, but you don't want to add too much. And then what I'll do while we still have some color left here, I'm going to tone down the beach here. It's a little bit too light. That goes along with the day of the light that we have here. So let's take off the tape, see what we got. Seeing one thing that needs to be adjusted, which I'll tell you when I get the tape out. I'm going to fix this back mound back here. It's too violet, so I'm going to take the ultramarine blue. I'm going to clean this off here. Take the ultramarine blue again, and the brown matter, and a little bit of the raw sienna, a little bit more of this. And I'm looking at the color and value of it. A little bit of cobalt. A little bit more brown matter. Okay, there we
Do
go.
you really add raw to that?
I add a little bit of raw sienna to that to gray it. So I'm
Okay.
taking this color here on the light side, but I need to tone this down. I'm gonna make it a little bit warmer here towards the shoreline. And I'm going to kind of tease that in a little bit. Then I'm going to take a little bit more cobalt to it as I go out away from the shoreline. Not much. And I'm going to bring this down like so. I don't want to give it too much form or change, but I do need to add something that works better with it. And I'm going to take a little bit of that color and I'm going to add it up in here. Into the rocks, into the beach right here. Put this in shadow with the tree overhanging it. And I think we can call that a day.
Beautiful.
Thank you. There's some things I would probably do a little bit differently, but I would have to sit and examine it a little bit more. You can't put too much bright color over here in this area here because it will detract the eye quite a bit. So I'm being kind of conservative with about adding too much color to anything in that area. But you could see the essence of the photograph there to what we painted here. Very simple rocks. If you sit there and you noodle out all these rocks, it's going to detract from the whole painting. The idea of suggestion is better.
So Dale, what is the light color that I'm seeing between the rocks? Is it like water?
This here or this here?
Yeah, in between your rocks,
That was the first
as you're
one.
going to the right,
Here.
right, in there, yes.
That was the first wash.
But it looks like you have white water or something running between the rocks.
It could be.
It's
No.
just, it's lighter.
Yeah, it's lighter and it's warmer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of this wash here and add a little bit of light with the waves coming up. So I'm taking a little bit of the raw sienna with the blue and the white, and I'm gonna add just a little bit of that action of the waves hitting. There's a little bit down here too, not too much. But I don't want to overdo that either. So we could have the waves come up in here like so and drift right up in here, which you see that all the time on Lake Superior. And add a little bit of white, soft white caps in here. And maybe just a little bit here. So that adds a little bit of character out there in a very simple fashion. So that's what we ended up with. Anybody need to take a picture of this?
Yeah, I already got.
What I do? Okay. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go back with the recording because I'm pretty sure I missed a lot of what you did with this water later on.
Okay. Marilee can get it out a lot quicker than we used to because we got a new laptop. The other one was like getting mail from here to Russia.
Oh, it was 10 years.
I wondered how you were doing that. You were getting it out sooner.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
The other one was at a snail's pace. It would stall out.
Well, I actually had two computers.
How
They're
frustrating.
10
Yeah,
years
she
old.
had two computers that were 10 years old. One now
Oh,
is in the basement, not being used, and the other one is a backup.
Well, it's being used for the Zoom
It's
classes.
being used for the Zoom classes here. So it's much faster and less of a headache for her.
And happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, happy wife.
No kidding. I bet. Holy cow.
Yeah, I
I-
got work on that water. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Really good. And thanks for getting that out sooner. That's really fun to be
No,
able to
that's-
still work on it.
That's my
On the-
hand. She gets it out faster now.
And if it,
Really.
so when I
So anybody have any questions before we leave? Anybody have any answers?
anybody have Lucky left?